Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the oscillating pattern on her monitor, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The signal didn't make sense. After 15 years at SETI, she had analyzed countless cosmic emissions, but this was different. The pattern pulsed with mathematical precision, yet something about it seemed almost familiar. "Dr. Roberts, could you take a look at this?" she called to her colleague, who was dozing in his chair after their 18-hour shift. The aging astronomer jolted awake, adjusting his glasses as he wheeled over to her station. "What have you got, Sarah?" His eyes widened as he watched the pattern repeat. "That's not natural." "No," Sarah agreed, typing rapidly to isolate specific frequencies. "It's structured, but it's not using any communication protocol we've documented. Look at these intervals." Within an hour, every monitor in the facility displayed the same signal. Scientists from different departments crowded around screens, their excited whispers filling the room. The pattern repeated every 4.7 minutes with perfect precision, each cycle containing what appeared to be densely packed information. Sarah's phone buzzed. Similar signals were being detected by radio telescopes across the globe. The Chinese Academy had confirmed the transmission's origin, a point in space precisely 50 astronomical units from Earth. As Sarah coordinated with international colleagues, the first breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a quantum computing researcher in Tokyo, recognized elements of the signal that resembled quantum encryption patterns. His team's experimental AI helped to decode the first fragment, coordinates of every major Earth satellite. The implications sent chills through the scientific community. This wasn't a greeting, it was reconnaissance. Professor Helena Martinez from MIT confirmed the next decoded segment, detailed scans of Earth's technological infrastructure. The unknown observers had mapped everything from power grids to internet backbones, but they had made a crucial mistake in their calculations, one that revealed their own position. Sarah's team discovered that the signal contained markers similar to those used in Earth's own deep space probes, suggesting the observers had been studying human technology for some time. But they had underestimated humanity's ability to reverse engineer their own methods. 48 hours after the signal's first detection, a final message was decoded. The Astral Collective, a federation of spacefaring species, had designated Earth for technological realignment. Their message carried the certainty of those who had performed this operation countless times before. What they didn't realize was that humanity had spent centuries preparing for this moment through science fiction, military planning, and technological innovation. As Sarah looked around the room at her colleagues sharing data and theories, she saw not fear, but determination. Earth's response was already beginning, powered by something the collective hadn't factored into their calculations: humanity's remarkable ability to unite and adapt in the face of challenges. The signal had been meant to declare Earth's vulnerability. Instead, it had revealed the first weakness of their would-be conquerors. They had gravely underestimated the species they intended to subdue. 3 months. The world's greatest minds had agreed on that timeline based on the Astral Collective's signal strength and estimated velocity. Humanity had just 90 days to prepare for an encounter that would determine its future among the stars. Major Isabella Santos stood before the United Nations Security Council, her holographic presentation showing a network of previously classified defense satellites. Project Aegis was developed independently by 7 nations, she explained, her voice steady. As of this morning, all participating countries have agreed to unified control under the newly formed Earth Defense Initiative. In Silicon Valley, gaming companies did something unprecedented. They released their most advanced AI algorithms to the military. Jenny Park, lead developer at Virtual Combat Systems, worked alongside Air Force strategists to convert millions of hours of player combat data into tactical predictions. Gamers have been fighting alien invasions for decades, she told the Joint Task Force. Their strategies might seem unconventional, but they've explored scenarios we never considered possible. Across the globe, Tesla's Gigafactory switched to producing advanced energy shields based on theories developed by a collaboration between SpaceX and CERN. Quantum computers in Switzerland crunched through possible defense scenarios, while Indian programmers developed adaptive algorithms to protect Earth's digital infrastructure. Dr. Chen, now heading the collective analysis team, made another breakthrough. "Their signal tells us more about them than they intended," she announced during a global briefing. "They use perfectly optimized communication methods. No redundancy, no variation. That suggests they value efficiency above adaptability." The revelation sparked a new approach. Instead of trying to match the collective's presumed technological superiority, Earth's defenders focused on unpredictability. Traditional military units trained alongside civilian tech experts, developing hybrid tactics that no conventional force would expect. In orbit, the International Space Station became humanity's first space-based command center. Colonel Wei Chen supervised as engineers installed quantum communication arrays that would maintain Earth's communications, even if traditional networks failed. "We're not just planning for the first attack," he said, watching a crew secure the new hardware. "We're planning for every possibility after that." Underground facilities around the world activated, their existence finally revealed. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault expanded its mission, becoming a repository for not just plants, but the entirety of human scientific knowledge. Digital archives were hardened against electromagnetic pulses, backed up in formats ranging from advanced crystal storage to old-fashioned paper. But humanity's greatest preparation wasn't in its technology. Social media channels buzzed with ideas and theories. Children's drawings of space battles contained insights that military planners actually incorporated. Every culture, every perspective contributed to a defense plan unlike anything in history. As the deadline approached, Major Santos received an unexpected report. Civilian internet traffic showed millions of people sharing survival strategies from science fiction stories. "They're not panicking," she realized. "They're inspiring each other." The night before the collective's anticipated arrival, Dr. Chen made one final observation. In all the decoded transmissions, their future opponents had never once mentioned the possibility of failure. That, she noted in her final report, might be the greatest advantage humanity had. They knew they could fail, and they prepared accordingly. The astral collected ships appeared like ripples in the morning sky, their crystalline hulls bending light in ways that defied physics. Global radar systems tracked 73 vessels taking position in low Earth orbit, each one larger than any human-made structure in space. "Energy spike detected," announced Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez, her eyes fixed on the quantum detection array. The ISS command center buzzed with activity as the first ship positioned itself over North America. "They're targeting communication hubs." Colonel Wei Chen watched as brilliant purple beams lanced down from the alien vessels, striking major internet exchange points across the globe. For a moment, the world held its breath. Then, something unexpected happened. "Sir, the mesh networks are active." Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice carried a note of triumph. 97% of planned backup systems are online and running. Decades of preparing for disaster scenarios, from solar flares to nuclear attacks, had created a web of resilient communication networks that refused to die. The collective's second wave targeted power grids, but they encountered another surprise. Thousands of miniature arc reactors, based on theoretical designs shared by research labs worldwide, kicked in automatically. Cities dimmed but didn't darken. Emergency broadcast systems, running on independent quantum channels developed by university students, kept civilians informed and coordinated. Dr. Sarah Chen, monitoring the attacks from a bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, noticed a pattern. "They're following standard protocols," she radioed to Global Command. "Just like their communications, their attack strategy shows no variation. They're not adapting to our countermeasures." Major Santos coordinated the first active defense from her position in the European Command Center. "Launch defense satellites Alpha through Delta," she ordered. The previously hidden platforms emerged from their camouflaged orbits, Their systems based on technology reverse-engineered from studying the collective's own signal. The alien ships detected the incoming threat and adjusted their shields, but something was wrong. Their defensive algorithms couldn't predict the erratic approach patterns programmed by teenage gaming champions. The first shots from Earth's platforms struck true, causing visible distortions in the crystalline hulls. Across the globe, civilian tech enthusiasts monitored the battle through distributed sensor networks they'd built in their backyards. Their real-time data, processed through social media analytics, provided military strategists with insights no single system could have generated. They're falling back to regroup, Colonel Chen announced as the alien ships retreated to higher orbits. All defense zones report minimal infrastructure damage, civilian casualties near zero. In the aftermath of the first wave, humanity's defenders gathered data and prepared for the next round. The collective had thrown their best practice strategies at Earth, only to find that humans had spent generations imagining and preparing for exactly this scenario. Dr. Chen's analysis team intercepted fragments of communication between the alien ships. The collective commanders were experiencing something new to their species: confusion. Their perfect formations and synchronized attacks had been countered not by superior technology, but by humanity's chaotic, resilient, and unpredictable nature. Marika Virtanen, a retired software engineer in Helsinki, reviewed the alien code fragment for the third time. While most experts focused on military installations, she'd been analyzing patterns in the collective's ship maintenance signals. "They never delete old code," she muttered, reaching for her 7th cup of coffee. "They only add new layers." She uploaded her findings to the Global Defense Network. Within hours, teams worldwide began exploiting this previously unnoticed weakness. The collective's perfect record-keeping became their vulnerability. Every patch, every update remained accessible to human hackers who understood the value of chaos. At the Planetary Defense Center in New Delhi, Arun Patel's team made another breakthrough. Their communication protocols mirror old Earth networking standards, he explained to the assembled commanders. "It's like they studied our internet from the 1990s and assumed it wouldn't evolve." His team had already developed algorithms to infiltrate the alien networks using 30 years of human cybersecurity advances. Dr. Chen, coordinating analysis from multiple sources, recognized something profound. "They learn through addition, never subtraction," she reported. "Every solution they develop becomes a permanent part of their approach. They don't know how to forget." The implications transformed Earth's strategy. Major Santos authorized Operation Mind Games, a series of feinted attacks designed to flood the collective's decision-making systems with outdated data. Each human response deliberately mimicked historical warfare strategies, only to shift suddenly to completely new approaches. In orbit, Colonel Chen watched the results with satisfaction. Alien ships moved to counter tactics from Earth's military history, only to find themselves responding to shadows, while real attacks came from unexpected directions. Their perfect memory had become a perfect trap. 17-year-old Yuki Tanaka, watching battle footage in Tokyo, noticed something his gaming experience had taught him. The alien ships move like NPCs in a video game, he posted on a global defense forum. They always take the optimized path. His observation led to a new prediction algorithm that helped Earth forces anticipate and counter collective movements with unprecedented accuracy. The collective's strategic AI, designed to process countless variables and determine optimal solutions, encountered a paradox. Human defenders acted against their own statistical best interests, choosing surprising and seemingly inefficient approaches that nevertheless proved effective. The AI's processing capacity became overwhelmed trying to calculate the logic behind actions that had no logic. Dr. Chen received reports of increasing anomalies in alien behavior patterns. Some ships hesitated before executing commands. Others showed signs of individual initiative, something unprecedented in collective military history. They're learning, she realized, but not in the way they expected to. The conflict had evolved beyond a simple military engagement. Humanity's greatest weapon proved to be its imperfection, the ability to learn from mistakes, to forget outdated solutions, and to embrace uncertainty. While the collective sought optimal outcomes, humans demonstrated that sometimes the best strategy was having no fixed strategy at all. Major Santos summarized it best in her evening briefing. They expected to play chess against a predictable opponent. Instead, they found themselves in a game where we keep changing the rules. In the depths of the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, Dr. Elena Martinez stood before a holographic display of a captured alien energy shield. 3 weeks ago, such technology had seemed centuries beyond human understanding. Now she was about to test humanity's first working prototype. The collective made one fundamental mistake, she explained to the assembled scientists. They assumed technological development had to follow a specific path. But humans? We take shortcuts. Behind her, the prototype hummed to life, its energy field shimming with an iridescent glow that matched the alien original. Across the Pacific, Japanese engineers at the Osaka Technology Institute had already moved beyond mere replication. Dr. Kenji Yamamoto's team discovered that Earth's varying magnetic fields could enhance the shield's strength. The collective built their technology for the sterile environment of space, he noted. We're adapting it to work with our planet's natural forces. Major Santos received the latest reports with growing optimism. In just 1 month, humanity hadn't just copied alien technology, they'd improved it. The Brazilian Space Agency developed more efficient power systems by studying local plants' energy conversion methods. Indian quantum computers processed alien code using algorithms inspired by ancient Sanskrit mathematics. Dr. Chen's analysis revealed why humans were advancing so rapidly. The collective's technology is perfect, she explained during a global briefing. But perfect doesn't mean best. They optimize one solution and stick to it. We try thousands of approaches simultaneously. The breakthrough that stunned the collective came from an unexpected source. A team of high school students in Kenya, participating in a global innovation challenge, discovered that traditional African drum rhythms could disrupt the crystalline structure of alien hull materials. Within days, engineers worldwide had integrated this principle into new weapon systems. Their perfection is their weakness, Colonel Chen observed as he watched Earth's forces deploy the latest innovations. Every piece of their technology is identical, which means once we find a weakness, it applies to everything they have. The collective's response proved telling. Their ships began displaying variations in their defense systems, but the changes followed predictable patterns. They were trying to adapt, but their rigid thinking limited their options. Each modification they made was mathematically perfect and perfectly predictable. In orbit, humanity's newly launched defense platforms incorporated dozens of different technologies. Some used conventional physics, others operated on principles the collective had never considered. The aliens couldn't effectively counter attacks when every human weapon worked differently. Dr. Martinez stood in her lab, watching real-time footage of Earth's ships engaging the collective. The alien vessels still possessed superior technology in many ways, but they were losing their advantage. Humanity's inferior solutions were proving more effective because they were unpredictable, adaptable, and diverse. "Look at this data," she told her team, pointing to comparative performance metrics. "They're still thinking in terms of perfection. We're thinking in terms of possibility." On her screen, another alien shield failed against a weapon that, by all their calculations, shouldn't have worked at all. The first sign of change came through an intercepted transmission. A young collective observer had captured something unexpected. Music. Earth's digital broadcasts, intended for human entertainment, had reached their ships. Dr. Sarah Chen watched in amazement as more reports flooded in of alien crews displaying unusual behaviors. "They're requesting more," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from the monitoring station. "Not just music. They want our stories, our art, our games." The concept of creating something purely for enjoyment was completely foreign to the collective's efficiency-focused society. In an unexpected development, a collective scout ship initiated contact using an unusual frequency. Instead of tactical data or demands, they transmitted a simple question: why do humans dance? The message came from First Observer Zix, a junior officer whose fascination with Earth culture had overcome centuries of conditioning. Major Santos recognized the opportunity immediately. "Send them everything," she ordered. "Art, music, literature, dance, the full spectrum of human creativity." It wasn't a tactical strike, but its effect proved more devastating than any weapon. The collective's rigid hierarchy faced an unprecedented crisis. Their younger members, exposed to human culture, began questioning fundamental aspects of their society. Why did efficiency have to exclude beauty? Why couldn't joy coexist with purpose? Dr. Elena Martinez, monitoring communications from CEO Arnon, noticed a pattern. The collective ships stationed over areas with the richest cultural broadcasts are showing the most deviation from standard protocols, she reported. Records showed these ships responding fractionally slower to orders, their crews spending more time observing Earth than attacking it. First Observer Zix's ship became a hub for cultural exchange. Through carefully established channels, they shared their impressions of human creativity. "Your species creates without purpose," they transmitted, "yet achieves outcomes we never imagined possible." The impact spread through the collective fleet like ripples in still water. Ships began positioning themselves to better receive Earth's cultural broadcasts. Some crew members requested permission to study human art forms, claiming it would help them understand their opponent better. Colonel Chen watched from the ISS as the collective's perfect formation showed subtle signs of fracturing. "They're not just learning about our culture," he noted, "they're learning to think differently because of it." In a secure facility beneath the Smithsonian, Dr. Chen compiled evidence of the transformation. Collective ships were developing individual patterns, their crews displaying preferences for different types of human expression. Some favored classical music, others were drawn to street art. The uniformity of their civilization was giving way to something new. The turning point came when a group of collective ships broke formation to attend what they termed a cultural observation. In reality, they positioned themselves to watch a sunset over the Pacific Ocean, an act that served no military purpose but spoke volumes about their changing perspective. "They're not just seeing us as enemies anymore," Dr. Chen reported to Global Command. "They're seeing us as teachers." In the great space battle humanity had prepared for, their most powerful weapon turned out to be something they never intended as a weapon at all: their ability to imagine, create, and inspire. Dr. Elena Martinez stood in the Global Command Center, watching as thousands of individual innovations merged into something unprecedented. On her main screen, a quantum defense network built by Indian programmers, synchronized with African sonic disruptors. Brazilian biometric systems adapted in real time based on Finnish code analysis. "It's like a symphony," Major Santos observed, tracking the coordinated defense systems. Every piece different, but working together. The metaphor was apt. Earth's defenses moved with the complexity of an orchestra, each component contributing its unique part to the greater whole. Colonel Chen's voice came through from the ISS, excitement breaking through his usual calm. "The collected ships are trying to adapt, but they can't match our tempo of change." The alien vessels adjusted their formations repeatedly, seeking patterns that no longer existed. In orbit, humanity's defense platforms demonstrated abilities that defied the collective's understanding of technology. Some used conventional physics, others operated on principles discovered through the merger of ancient wisdom and modern science. A shield generator in Australia drew power from the Earth's magnetic field, while Japanese satellites projected defensive screens using theories derived from studying cherry blossom patterns. "They're falling into our trap," Dr. Chen announced, analyzing the collective's movements. "Their artificial intelligence can't process so many simultaneous innovations. It's looking for the optimal solution, but we're not giving it time to find one." The alien fleet's perfect formations began to break down. Their synchronized attacks, once their greatest strength, became a vulnerability. When one ship found its weapons ineffective against a new human defense, all ships using the same approach became equally vulnerable. Marika Virtanen's backdoor code, planted weeks ago through the aliens' maintenance systems, activated across their network. The collected ships received conflicting data from their own sensors, their perfect communication systems corrupted by the introduction of controlled chaos. Yuki's gaming strategies, now integrated into Earth's defense grid, predicted and countered alien movements before they occurred. The collective's commanders found themselves facing an opponent that seemed to operate outside the bounds of logical combat. Look at their formation. Major Santos pointed to the tactical display. The alien ships had split into smaller groups, each trying different approaches, unconsciously mimicking humanity's diversity. But for them, it was too late to learn this lesson. Dr. Martinez initiated the final phase. Every Earth defense system activated simultaneously, each operating on different principles, timings, and frequencies. The effect overwhelmed the collective's ability to analyze and respond. Their ships, designed for perfect coordination, couldn't handle the asymmetric assault. They're retreating to high orbit, Colonel Chen reported. The collective's remaining vessels pulled back, their once perfect formation now scattered and disorganized. But it wasn't just a military defeat, it was a fundamental challenge to their entire worldview. Dr. Chen's final analysis told the story. Humanity had won not through superior technology or military might, but through the very characteristics the collective had dismissed as weaknesses. Their diversity, creativity, and willingness to embrace imperfection had proved more powerful than any perfect system. The message arrived exactly 1 month after the collective's retreat. Dr. Sarah Chen sat in her lab, reading it for the 3rd time. Unlike their previous communications, this one showed signs of emotion, of uncertainty, of change. They're requesting a dialogue, she announced to the assembled Global Command. Not as conquerors, but as students. The collective's message acknowledged something unprecedented in their history. They had encountered a civilization that made them question their fundamental beliefs. Major Santos shared her screen, showing the locations of the remaining collective ships. They had maintained a respectful distance in high orbit, their formation now displaying subtle variations that would have been unthinkable months ago. Each ship had developed its own slight modifications, influenced by the human cultures they had observed. First Observer Zix has been appointed as their cultural ambassador, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, a smile playing at her corners of her mouth. Apparently, their council was impressed by how much their younger members learned from studying us. In the weeks that followed, something remarkable happened. The collective began sharing their technology willingly, not as a superior force, but as partners in a cultural exchange. For each advancement they offered, they requested something uniquely human in return: art, music, literature, and most importantly, new ways of thinking. Dr. Martinez hosted the first direct meeting at CERN. Collective scientists, their crystalline environmental suits shimmering with newly added decorative patterns, eagerly discussed the possibility of combining their perfect efficiency with human creativity. Your species has shown us that perfection can be a limitation, one of them admitted. We never considered that chaos could be a source of strength. Colonel Chen, watching from the ISS, observed collective ships attempting to modify their flight patterns to create what they termed artistic formations. Their crews were learning that beauty didn't have to come at the cost of function. They're changing, Dr. Chen noted, reviewing the latest cultural exchange data. Not just their technology or their tactics, but their entire society. The younger generation of the collective had embraced human concepts of individual expression, leading to a renaissance within their civilization. In return, humanity gained insights into advanced technologies they might never have discovered on their own. But more importantly, they gained a deeper understanding of themselves. Their perceived weaknesses, diversity, unpredictability, the eternal drive to question and create, had proven to be their greatest strengths. Major Santos stood before the United Nations, delivering the final report on the conflict that never became a war. We prepared to face an enemy, she concluded, but instead, we found a mirror. The collective showed us what we might have become if we chose perfect order over beautiful chaos. And in turn, we showed them what they could become by embracing change. As Earth took its place among the stars, both civilizations moved forward, changed by their encounter. The collective learned to value diversity, while humanity gained the confidence to face the universe on their own terms. Together, they began exploring what was possible when perfect efficiency and creative chaos worked as one. First observer Zix's final transmission perhaps said it best. We came to change Earth, but Earth changed us instead. Perhaps that was the most perfect outcome of all.